28 cars line up for this Hy-Vee Homefront 250. Time to go racing at Iowa Speedway. A little bit of a staggered start, but the green flies anyway. Watch for some early movers as Will Power leads the field to green.
4 wide, Ryan Hunter-Reay hanging it out on the outside of that blue and gold number 20. We saw a big jump from Takuma Sato, but look at them jockey for position mid-pack.
That was brilliant, Ryan Hunter-Reay going 4 wide. Meanwhile, Will Power head down, staring forward and pulling away.
Romain Grosjean in that bright yellow and red DHL car looking for a move. That's Pato Award. This is Colton Herter. Let's go for a ride.
Even with you right there.
And Scott Dixon looking to make a move now on Newgarden.
Shows that low line. Newgarden stays mid-track, no problem there. Keep an eye on that orange and black car right there. That's Pato Award, who won the most recent race here, the second leg of the doubleheader last year. This is Award.
But you got to be brave.
You got to be brave. Captain America, take a bow. Pato Award ahead of Scott Dixon. So now it's Chevrolet-powered cars 1, 2, 3, and 4.
But guys, the leader has caught lap traffic. We are now officially in a full string of cars, 17 laps in. Benjamin Peterson in the number 55 for AJ Foyt Racing has gone a lap down.
And now you get into the debate as the leader, Will Power. How hard do I want to press right now? How much pressure am I feeling from my teammate McLaughlin and Joseph Newgarden? This is where the team communication really comes into play. You want to make high percentage decisions if you're Will Power. You also want to know and recognize that you cannot chew up your tires trying to force it on lap traffic if you're not under a lot of pressure. And you know right where you are. You've got the feel over the bumps on the high line, the low line, and Power and McLaughlin and Newgarden continue to lead.
Time to say good afternoon to Kevin Lee. Kevin?
Hey, Diff, let's keep an eye on Pato Award. Running in 4th right now, and he was told, don't worry about it if you can't go forward. It's about the long game. You might be able to get him at the end of the stint, and from every driver I spoke to, that's the big unknown. It's one thing to be fast early, but can you be fast at the end of the stint when the tires start to wear? I asked him before, do you have anything for those Penskins? He said, oh yeah, in race trim, I think we do.
As we see the Verizon Chevy, Will Power coming down pit lane.
And this is where your team is so critical because you don't need a full tank of fuel. You're probably only putting in 14 gallons versus the 18 as Power comes to his box. Fastest in the business right here, Kevin.
And one thing we saw yesterday is he got to over laps 70 on a set of tires in practice, so he can make them last. Looking for a win in his 17th consecutive season. First stint done. Will Power, all good.
Alex Palou stayed out for Chip Ganassi Racing. The top 3 came in, top 4 with Pato Award, but Palou stayed out for an extra lap. How's that going to work out for him? He dives for pit road now as we speak in the American Legion Honda. Championship leader is in. Kevin Lee's there. Kev?
So for Alex Palou, this is a situation, if you want to think championship, he doesn't have to win the race today. He's up by 117. He just needs to avoid disaster, but the philosophy has been, hey, if we got a chance, let's go for it. He's getting more and more comfortable as he goes on these types of tracks.
Yeah, we talked about that maybe being a weakness for him, but he had raced his way up from up to P5 before that pit stop sequence, so showing that he can make the tires last and move up at the same time. Palou is really checking all the boxes.
Let's talk about Joseph Newgarden, the man who's won here 4 times and was the odds-on favorite to do so again today. Is it going to happen? Well, here's what's happened so far. His gap to the leader has increased just a little bit. It was about 4 seconds before the pit stop. It's now up to 5. Early on in the first stint, Joseph radioed in, we've got to fix this. He took a turn and a half of front wing in that Chevy, and that has not helped tremendously, but it is early. Newgarden still running 3rd.
So adding front wing, Townsend, that's adding essentially aerodynamic grip to the front end, trying to get some more front grip, get that thing to turn a little bit better for him as we ride on board, this Hitachi on board. But it's a long race. I mean, 78 laps down, you still have at least 2 more stops to tune on the car, and you just need to be in the ballpark. A yellow changes everything, so it's not all lost yet for this driver.
Track temp 113 degrees. 2:33 local time, so it's going to stay hot to the finish. So I think what you have right now is what you're going to get to the end. It's not like this is going into dark and the track's going to cool way down and change a lot. So Joseph Newgarden and the number 2 team going to have to figure out how to find that magic that they're so well known for here.
Yeah, I needed that with the changes I made, though, to get it there. We're going there.
And right before that, guys, he did radio in, it is better, so an improvement for the 2.
And we're at 100 laps of this 250 lapper. Here comes Newgarden. Decisive on the inside, but there's traffic up ahead.
Oh, Newgarden trapped in dirty air with Callum Ilot's car, but it certainly didn't take long for Newgarden and Tim Cindric to figure out the adjustments for this race car to make him an absolute factor back at the front.
Newgarden looks like he has a good run off there. McLaughlin comes back into the picture. Team Penske, 1, 2, 3. Power, Newgarden, McLaughlin.
And the question that Tim Cindric's asking Joseph Newgarden is, do you have enough adjustment in the cockpit to be able to reset on the pit stop and start again, or do you need us to make a wing change to get you more in your adjustment range? That's how finite these guys are working the setup as Tim Cindric continues to communicate as pit stops are about 20 laps away for the 3-stop strategy of Team Penske.
But it's such a crucial part of the race.
Here we go.
Gotta run.
Oh,
Look at this. Newgarden's not sticking around anymore.
It looked like he threw a shoulder at Will Power there at the exit of turn 2.
Well, he's built like a football player, and he storms his way to the front.
McLaughlin might get Power. Power just had a bobble there in the middle of 3 and 4. How quickly things can change.
Getting close to halfway, McLaughlin had to get out of it big time there.
You saw as Will Power came down to the line, as we see Graham Rahal now laps down, going around the XPEL Chevy. But as Will Power came down in front of Scott McLaughlin, it took all the air, all the downforce off the front of that number 3. He had to lift off the throttle to stop from going into the wall. That's about controlling the air on the car behind you. That's what Will Power was inadvertently doing there.
Joseph Newgarden is on pit road now. He had wanted to try to find a way around. Will Power finally did. Thought his crew was going to have to pick him up on pit road. Maybe he can maintain the spot. Kevin.
So this will be a head-up fight on pit lane, but Newgarden is already released. Will Power further down pit lane is going to tuck out right behind him in that red Verizon car. Scott McLaughlin is also there, and he exits. Let's see if it cycles out with the Penske still being 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, let's see what Power can do now on the tack mode as opposed to defense. So they're released, they get back up to speed with fresh tires. We will see as we've just crossed the halfway point of the Hy-Vee Homefront 250 here at Iowa Speedway.
And now these Penske drivers come out on this fresh rubber, and you feel like Superman in the pits. As Kevin, we see Takuma Sato in the pits.
And he had a longer stint than everyone. He came in 6 laps earlier than the Penske, so he's making the Firestones last. Last win for Sato, it was an oval, the Indianapolis 500 for the second time in 20.
Well, Lee, when you are a master of a place like Joseph Newgarden is here at the Iowa Speedway, you have a lot of information. I asked Joseph yesterday, are you a closed book? Do you try to hide everything from everybody? Are you so wide open because you know you're going to beat him anyway, even if you tell him everything? And he said somewhere in between. He said, I'm not here to help the competition. I might help another Chevy driver. I would certainly be very open to my teammates who can see everything that I do anyway. So there's been a lot of discussion over time between Newgarden and his teammates, and I think Will Power, his other teammate, just hit the wall, Lee.
What happened to the Verizon Chevy driver? How bad is it? Was it a glance? Was it a hit?
Well, McLaughlin got by.
We good, Will? We good?
So did Award.
And they want to hear from him. How's the car? What happened? Well, Will Power's passing cars right now, so hopefully just a light glance, and he can regroup and refocus because he's only 20 laps.
But we're okay.
Only 20 laps into this stint.
So just those two made up 11 back to the front. Joseph Newgarden, 3.5 seconds now in the lead over Scott McLaughlin, who's dealing with that traffic. Next up on his list is Colton Herter.
All right, T-Bell.
Yes.
Did we maybe miss something here? Let's talk about an option
Impossible.
here. It's absolutely impossible. Let's talk about the times that the cars pit under that caution. The cars that were a lap down, they came and refueled closer to the green flag. So you see 35 laps ago was when Palou pit, 42 for the leaders. That puts them, when we went about 163 was when Palou pit. I talked to one of the strategists beforehand. He said, hey, a get home number here could be 170. That's where I would debate between trying to make 80 laps work or trying to push hard for 40 and split that into 2. The front of his cars. Now Kyle Kirkwood's looking on the outside of the PNC Bank. Look at how close that came, and that's
right in front of Joseph Newgarden, who's saying,
Exactly.
dude, everybody chill.
Well, remember that Dixon was a lap down not that long ago, so this is cycled favorably. The yellow helped him. Newgarden looks on the inside of Kirkwood and then eases back out of it.
That gap to McLaughlin, about half a second tighter as Newgarden stacked up a bit behind 7th place Kyle Kirkwood and Scott Dixon. So Newgarden now making some critical decisions. Do I just ride? Oh no, you don't, especially when Kirkwood gets loose like that down in turn 1.
It's just about being heads up. Again, he's looking 3 cars in front. That's Scott Dixon immediately in front of him, but he's already reading the traffic in front of Scott Dixon to know where Scott's going to place his car. So that he can make his decisions on where to put the 2. And this, again, is just where he is so good. Look at that slow car up top. Everyone's got to check up a little bit.
Gap down to 2.4.
And when he comes out of turn 4 this time, he'll see the white flag in front of a big crowd. 7/8 of a mile to go until Joseph Newgarden gets win number 5 here at Iowa Speedway. He was filthy after qualifying. He was so frustrated, he was angry, and that anger is going to dissipate now. He is the king of corn country. Iowa Speedway sees Joseph Newgarden win again. That's win number 5, and he is dominating the oval competition this 2023 season.
Where's the bar? Great job today. Hey, you like that? Like that?
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.